that genie in the bottle dance?
Just a little more. Just a little more. Just a little more. Just a little more.
That's enough of you.
I had broke it down at the end. Oh, it started back. Hold on. It wanted for the remix. I wanted to get a little bit more. Hey, everybody, and welcome to Just a Little More. We are so excited. We got a full troop tonight. We miss you, Ray. We'll see you next week. Chantal will miss you too, but
Yes,
we are
we
so
do,
happy
Mama.
to have a full crew tonight. You know, here at Just a Little Bit More, we're dedicated to getting just a little bit more information. We love getting a little bit of tea. And baby, we love to end it with a whole lot of love. Hey, everybody. How y'all doing?
Feeling
Feeling great.
Feeling good, feeling
Good,
great.
good.
How are you?
Doing good today, baby. I have my boo on it, honey. My boo is on the call.
That's your what, sis?
My boo.
That's
He
me.
is on the call. Listen, he is my sound man. He come in, he do my lights for me. He come in, do the mics. Listen, I'm so thankful and happy to have my boo on to be a part of the panel. He has a lot of opinions, and I think he'll be great tonight to join in on the conversation. But I'm so happy to have all of you here tonight. How are you guys doing? How was your week?
I didn't get the same amount of love as your boo.
Good week. Listen,
Over Shawnee.
just saying.
how y'all doing? How's your week going? How's it been going for you?
Fast. How's it almost Thursday?
Facts.
Child, and I'm like, and it's almost Christmas. It's almost the holiday season.
What do you mean almost? It is Christmas.
It's Christmas. It's Christmas.
Oh, debatable.
But we are just so excited to be here for Black Topics. Sis, tell them what Black Topics is. Tell them what it's all about.
Black Topics is a time where we come together and talk about everything impacting Black culture, from politics all the way to pop culture. Kick it off, Ace.
Oh,
Go.
before we get started, we gotta do our cocktail check.
Uh-oh.
Cocktail check.
Wait, but what's in your cup?
Mine is just a little tea. Mine was a little tea.
Okay. All right.
Tea tonight. But before we get started, we do have a very, very special guest besides my bae, who is on the call. Miss Shawnee Glasby, also known as Coach G, from the amazing organization called Order My Steps. Y'all, this is a phenomenal organization that is truly helping kids in the city of Houston, Texas. And we hope we can take it globally one day, but it is truly making an impact. And I wanted to have her on the show today because she's doing some big things in the city of Texas and with a new initiative called 500 Strong. And so she's going to tell us. So tell us first, Shawnee. First off, because you're amazing. I got to do an interview with you. Tell us a little bit about Order My Steps, and then tell us about 500 Strong.
All right, well, to start off, I am in the city of Houston, Texas, but I am from the A and the Braves have won. Okay,
Oh
I must show that. Now, Order My Steps. So what we're a nonprofit organization where we inspire, empower, and motivate kids through the art of stepping. So we're not just a mini fraternity or sorority. We actually teach our kids about values such as teamwork, leadership, self-confidence, honesty, perseverance. Our kids have to find these values. They have to apply them to their life, and they have to be able to tell us what it means to them, because we're all about developing the entire child. This brain up here is what we really have to change. So we don't just teach step, we focus on this brain.
Okay, so tell us about the 500 Strong campaign and how can people partner with you so that they can help a kid in the city of Texas?
500 Strong. 500 Strong is our fundraiser, and what we're asking is 500 people to give $5 a month. And what that will help us with is
say that again
enrollment.
now. How much I got to give you? How much?
$5 a month. That's it. Okay, that's nothing but a cup of coffee. That's a little sandwich from Chick-fil-A, McDonald's meal, Wendy's Biggie bag, just $5 a month. And that will go a long way. It's going to help enroll more students in our program. It's going to help us with uniforms. It's going to help us with our community events that we do for the public, for free. The money coming out of our pockets. So your donations will really help us build this further and be able to impact more people all over Texas.
All right. And how do I go? How do I find out about this? Where do I go make my donation for my $5?
OrderMyStepsTX.com. Click the button that says 500 strong, and it will have everything you need right there.
Listen, y'all, for real, on a serious note, $5 that you use, and I know I love my Starbucks and I use it to buy my coffees, but if you think about it, you spend $5 every day doing something that, you may not even think about, but $5 a month can really make a huge impact in a child's life today. So think about it. We're not, forcing you to do anything, but think about it. I think this is a great cause. And so proud of you, my friend, Coach G. She's going to stay with us and be a part of our Black Topic panel, but I just wanted to make sure I highlighted her in Order My Steps. And so give her shout outs. And also, if you're in the comment section, you'll see the website below. Make a donation, even if it's just $5 for tonight. Just make a $5 donation. It's okay. And without any further ado, let's go to Mo and let's get our news going on. Mo, take us away, please.
All right. Well, as y'all may know, we just had an election day here in the U.S. And while it might not be as big as the midterms that we have next year, it was important in a lot of ways. And it told us a lot about where this country is at the moment. So let's just start with some of the positives, because there was a lot of history made last night around the country. In Boston, for example, 200 years of electing mayors. And this is the first time that they've elected a woman and a woman of color in Michelle Wu. She's actually the second woman of color to serve, but the first one to be elected.
Nice.
New York, there was a lot of good stuff that happened. We now have a Black attorney general, a Black district attorney for Manhattan, a Black district attorney for the Bronx, a Black U.S. attorney for Manhattan, a Black U.S. attorney in Brooklyn and Queens. And in New York, we've got New York City, we got their second Black mayor.
Nice.
In addition,
that's awesome.
Yes. Pittsburgh got its first Black mayor. Cleveland got a Black mayor. And at 34, he's the second youngest ever in the city's history. Cincinnati elected its first Asian American mayor. And Seattle elected its first Asian American mayor as well. So lots of good history that happened last night.
Wow.
Nice.
At the same time, let's get to the less than ideal stuff. And this is what we really need to keep our eye on, especially as we go into next year. So while we saw a lot of historic moments in local elections, the Democrats in particular had a rough night when it came to some statewide elections, with Republican Glenn Youngkin beating out Terry McAuliffe in Virginia.
Yes.
This is the first time that a Republican has won a statewide election in Virginia since 2009. Virginia really become a solidly blue state over the years. And Democrat Phil Murphy, he barely squeaked by in New Jersey over his Republican opponent. Now, mind you, Biden just won both Virginia and New Jersey by double digits a year ago. So everyone, in the days to come are going to have their theories about why the Democrats underperformed this year, whether it's the fact that they've yet to pass any major legislation because of infighting within the party, or the fact that they're losing this debate on culture wars and education.
Yeah, that's a big thing, Reese, because this one, in one of his biggest speeches, he was like, we're not going to have critical race theories in our schools, and we're going to let parents make a decision in their education. And the thing that is so big to me is that critical race theory is not even taught in their schools in the first place. And so, this is a very scary place that we're coming to as far as politics and where people really have no understanding of it. And him being a part of this now move and change in our democracy is like a little bit scary, because I think it's going to have some more things as we prolong to the big elections. That's what I think.
Absolutely. I think that you look at what has happened ever since that last president rolled down that elevator in 2015. Yeah. Ever since then, it's been a war on facts and a war on truth. And we saw that play out again this week. And there's nothing that's going to suggest that it won't be an issue come the midterms next year. The Democrats have to really find a better way to combat this, because I think that sticking to the policies, especially when they haven't passed anything, they got to figure out a winning strategy.
Ace, I wonder what the
thought
I think
is. With the Democrats, they're always kind of been lacking in just the publicity and being able to advertise and sell things. It's always been a thing where, whether it's true or not, you love the commercials that Republicans put out. You love like just all the aspects that they give you, whether it be in rallies or whatever the case may be. So they really know how to kind of like energize that base and then energize to get other people to be included in that mix.
Exactly.
I agree. There's this level of, and I don't know what y'all think, there's this level of disengagement, right, after Biden won that I feel like has sort of swept a lot of the Democratic, well, just like socially, like I feel like we sort of like, oh, okay, we got it. Now we can move along. And I think that we have to continue to stay educated. So I think it's a disengagement. And I think we're almost exhausted. I think people are really tired of talking politics, but it's one of those things, Ace, I remember, or Maurice, when you were talking like earlier when Biden was there, you was like, we can't let up. Like this can't be, we get him in office and then we sort of, but I feel like it's this huge disengagement with politics at this moment when it comes to the Democrats.
Oh, it really is. And I think it's a part of it is because nobody was really excited to vote for Biden last year. Let's just be real about that. I think folks are more excited to get Trump out of office. And now that he's out of office, you know, we've got Biden in here who's not a very exciting politician, which in some ways is good. We need to make politics boring again. But in other ways, what we're seeing is we're getting a lot of these
Sleepy Joe. That's what they call him.
Right. And what we're getting with some of these candidates is these like Clinton era Democrats. And that brand of politician is really kind of outdated these days. So we've got to figure it out. And I'll just say this, I'm especially worried about these midterms next year because, you know, think back to like Obama's first term in office when the Democrats went from a large majority in Congress and then it really swung to a heavy Republican majority during those midterms in 2010. Well, Obama's approval rating at that time was 45%. Biden's approval rating is already lower than Obama's was a year before these midterms at 42%. And a lot of that is due to things like Afghanistan, inflation, and the failure to get either an infrastructure bill or an economic bill passed. There's time to turn it around, but the Democrats really have to get some things accomplished and not resort to their normal finger pointing after a night like this, like we just had. So it's as simple as that. And I say it all the time, and I'm going to say it yet again. We've got to get ourselves ready to vote. Voter suppression efforts are still alive and well. Just today, we saw Republicans block a second voting rights bill in the Senate, one that was named after the late John Lewis. This was via filibuster once again. So we've got to, you know, like I've said a million times, and I'll say it every week, get ready to vote, figure out what your options are, figure them out early, research often, and spread the word.
Let me ask you a question. Do you think like the Democrats, I guess their thing is like they try to take the high roads and Republicans, they be like, well, you know, let me get this mud off the floor and just throw it in your face and you take it type thing or something. I mean, what do you think, I guess, is the difference in their ways of accomplishing things?
Oh, absolutely. I think that they really do kind of pride themselves on being that party that has like more of a moral high ground. And they do want to just stick to the policy. And don't get me wrong, I think that that's, you know, in an ideal world, that's what you want. People, you want to go about the policies. What are you actually going to do when you get elected into office? But at the same time, I think we need to mix it up. I think we need candidates that are going to excite people. And we haven't had that in a long time. Biden didn't excite anybody. You look at what happened in Virginia. Terry McAuliffe didn't excite anybody. He's just like a second coming of like Bill Clinton or something like that. So that's a big thing. We need to mix the policy with some level of engagement that really electrifies voters and gets people excited to go to the polls. Virginia, you know, usually when we have high voter turnout, it usually favors Democrats. Virginia had historically high voter turnout yesterday, and for the first time in God knows how long, that actually favored Republicans. So that's it. We got to get people excited to go vote. And
that's a real thing. I think because Trump is horrible. He's a horrible human being and a horrible, you know, politician. But he's exciting, you know what I'm saying? And that's why he makes you just want to either hate him. He draws a response from you. And I think one of the things with Biden, you know, it's just kind of like the thing of like, okay, you know, he's like that grandpa. You like see sleep, you know. And I believe in his policies, and I'm really happy that he's in office. But you're right, Reese. We gotta get somebody to excite us because we don't want to sleep. And then in 4 years, Trump comes back.
We need younger people. He old.
Well, yes.
Politics.
You
I'm
need-
sorry. Politics got to have some young folks in it. Like
Exactly.
we got to mix it up. It needs to be
Exactly.
old and young. Like you need some of the old generation because there's a lot of work ethic in them that they had, but you need some of the newer generation
New
because of the way
leadership,
we
yep.
think. We're more savvy. We're more engaging. Like it has to be mixed.
Exactly.
Well, I would challenge that because I would say, like with the Republicans, though, and you say the Democrats kind of take the high road. Is it really the Republicans that we are viewing, or is it the transition that Trump has kind of shifted that party into that we're seeing as far as how they're going about with their tactics or whatever? Because, like you said, if the Democrats are saying it's like, Star Wars or whatever, we're old Republicans, so we're going to keep charging forward and, going down this path or whatever the case may be, are Republicans really shifting to keep up with times, or are they shifting because of the influence that, like you said, Trump is kind of putting out there?
They're shifting to keep up with times in their own way. And what I mean by that is they're tapping into some of people's like deepest fears. And that's what they're doing. And these are things that probably, you think back to like maybe 2012, 2013, 2014, like things that folks weren't even thinking about. But that's what Republicans are using now to win. Is like I was saying, these culture issues, talking about critical race theory, and because that was not a thing that anybody discussed, a year or so ago. And you think about when Trump was, sought his nomination, and he tapped into things like nobody was really like, I think immigration reform was always something that's been needed for different reasons than what Trump was proposing. But he went out there and he wanted to throw Mexicans under the bus, for example. And, it's things like that really people in his base latched onto. Yeah. So that's what they're doing. And that's the approach that they're taking. And I think that we need to find a message that resonates with people, one that's still rooted in facts, but one that also gets people energized.
Okay. I'm with you. I'm definitely with you. And I think Reese too, it's been I think it's been like a disconnect in the Republican Party. Because I think you have those traditional Republicans, and then you have the Trumpians who are just totally crazy or just totally far left, and then you have the Republicans that they say are like the old school, like John McCain, or like the old, the Bush kind of era Republicans. But this new Republicans are following more of that Trump.
But Joyce, you know what the funny thing is about that? They still know how to unify. They still know how to unify.
You just gave a word there, Reese.
And that's the problem with Democrats right now. You've got your more centrist Democrats and you've got your more further left Democrats. And, we have control of the House, Congress, and the White House. And we still haven't been able to get anything done. Yeah. So it's funny because you're right. I think that you do have more like centrist establishment Republicans. And you also had some of those more like Trump defenders, hardcore Trumpians or whatever. But guess what? When they had power, they bonded together and they got what they wanted passed.
Yeah.
That's not been the case right now. And we're seeing that's not the case at the ballot box either.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
But
Lord be with us. Lord be with us.
I had one other thing I wanted to point out about election night. I told you I wanted to talk about some of these things tonight. So with everything that happened in New Jersey and Virginia yesterday, the thing that I'm probably most disappointed with after this election was what we saw with question 2 in Minneapolis, where those voters rejected a proposal basically to overhaul their police department, in the wake of everything that happened with George Floyd. And they wanted to create in its place a Department of Public Safety, which would still include a police force, but would also add other skilled people in other areas of expertise to have a more holistic approach to public safety instead of tasking police with as much as they've been tasked with. We've seen this in several cities. So had Minneapolis voted in favor of question 2, it would have served as a blueprint for other municipalities around the country in reimagining what public safety actually looks like. And one of my big concerns there is I think that the slogan that we coined, especially after the George Floyd incident, defund the police, may have hurt our cause because it simplified things. And I think people who look at things in a very black and white way are really thinking it's just taking money from the police force instead of what it really does, which is, allocates additional funding for some of the other areas where we need public safety concerns addressed. But when we simplify it to something like that, it becomes really scary. And a lot of people don't look at the nuances of these discussions. It's not as black and white as people are trying to make it out to be. It's a very textured discussion. And I think that defund the police might have hurt our cause in that regard.
Oh, I think it completely hurt us. And I know we're like lagging on this, but I do think
It's important.
But I do think, what's important to recognize is that this goes back to your point about the party being divided. There is a huge population of Democrats that are very left, that are very defund the police. I think we need to get really specific and educate the constituency about what we mean when we say certain things.
Mhm.
I think it's dangerous when we come up with these simple slogans and people just sort of have marching orders to go. It's not fair, and it doesn't create the conversation I think that we should be having. But I think it hits on your point about we're divided. We don't know what's going on.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of times definitions and explaining what things really mean.
Yeah.
It kind of even goes back to critical race theory. Like people didn't even know what it meant. And they like, no, that's what's starting this whole debate. And they don't really even know what it means. And so, I think having those questions and saying, hey, I want to support your cause, but I really need to know what does it mean so that I can know what I'm really standing for and what I'm really fighting for. And that's a real true statement. Sometimes you just don't know.
It's just a hashtag.
And Gary, I think you bring up a good point. I mean, when you talk about how we simplify things, I think we as a people and a culture, we like simple things. And if something makes sense, if you can put it in a rhyme, you can say whatever and just make it easy, then that's going to sell. I'm just going to join your team just because it rhymes and it makes sense to me, whatever the case may be. I don't have to do any research. I don't have to know the truth. Kind of like you said with defunding the police or whatever the case may be. If you look at the amounts that they spend just as far as taking care of issues that go on within the police to kind of like bow themselves out of court or take care of issues that goes on, that's just money that could not be spent. But it's kind of like you said, they want to take the old way and kind of keep charging forward because people are not educated on those options that you can do because we don't really want to look into it. We want to just keep, going to Starbucks, ordering our coffee and keep things moving.
Excuse me, don't disrespect going to Starbucks. I feel very attacked. Don't do that.
The biggest thing though is we definitely need to make our message more accessible and, in a way that's more digestible. I think that you say something like defund the police again, it shakes a lot of tables.
Yeah.
And what we really mean is reimagining public safety. And I think there's a lot more that can be and should be done with it. And we need
notice what you just said, reimagining public safety. That's not a good hashtag. So that's why people are not going to run with it.
Oh, well,
Everybody wants a quick hashtag.
Right.
You don't have to have a meaning. It just needs to be a hashtag.
Listen, the right thing is not always something that's like, a simple hashtag. That's the thing, right? But that's the way people operate, and that's the way people think, right? So
that's too intelligent. We ain't got time for all that intelligence.
Exactly.
I just want to hear defund and move on. All right, moving on to just a little bit more, or please no more. These are rapid hot topics. Where you are going to give your feedback if you want just a little bit more, or please ceasefire, no more, stop it right now. Now, I'm really excited about this first one. Sex in the City is rebooting, and it's starting in December. And how are y'all feeling about this? Do you think it should stop and they should just leave Well Enough alone? Or are you excited about it? You're like, please, more of Sex in the City.
Are all four of them going to be there?
No.
Okay, well then no more.
Samantha has said
Stanford
no
Glass is not going to be there.
No more.
The biggest thing for me, and here's why I'm going to say no more. Have y'all been seeing some of these pictures of some of the fashions they've been wearing on set?
I love it.
Some of these things have looked a hot mess.
I like it.
So, Jonathan, I'm with you. Listen, I caught on to the Sex and the City train late. Ace, you know this.
I
So
know.
I am very late to the party. So my excitement, people who've watched it forever, it's probably like no more. I want more because I'm new to the game. So yes.
I mean, I'm going to be watching for sure because I want to see exactly how they do this without Samantha.
Yeah.
And I'm also curious to see because the actor that played Stanford died last month.
Yes.
So I'm just curious as to if they had wrapped up filming, if they were in post-production after he passed, or what's going to happen with that. I'll be watching for sure.
You can't do it. You can't do it without the cast. It's like doing TLC, how they going on tour without Left Eye.
Baby, I
does not
still
work.
see the
Real.
T in the C. I still
It don't happen.
It does
It
not
don't
work.
happen.
The show goes
Take it back
on.
home.
The
No.
show
Y'all
goes
chase some
on.
Not without
waterfalls.
Samantha.
Keep it moving.
Listen, and then I really love it. I'm excited about it because they're introducing some black characters and some black women into this story, which they should have been, which they should have done the old show. And I'm really
Just make a
excited
black
about
one
the
in.
fashions and talking about sex and just talking about life. It's a great show. You know, I like it. So I'm
But
like
Samantha
more
is
some people
there
like,
to
no.
talk about sex, and Samantha's gone. So who's going to talk about the
You
sex?
know, I'm hoping that's Kim Cattrall, right?
Yeah.
She, she said, I guess, long time ago that she was not messing with SJP anymore. So it's been well established that she was probably not coming back to the show. So I'm holding out hope that they've had this to work with. This is not something that just sprung up on them last minute. So I'm holding up hope that they're going to do something clever with this storyline this time around. It's a Sex in the City reboot, but it's not. Maybe it's not like wholly Sex in the City.
Right.
So I'm holding out hope. It could be something because it's called like Just Like That or something like that.
And just like that.
And just like that, like she
So-
always says. I'm like,
Right. So fingers crossed it'll just give us a little bit something different.
So clearly, Jonathan and I are the only ones excited.
and I'm going to watch.
I'm intrigued. I'm not excited. I'm intrigued.
I do like that they're giving it a different title since it won't have all the characters. I do appreciate that because I hate when movies come back with the same cast or a different cast and be a whole different plot but the same title. That kind of stuff makes me upset. So I like the fact they're at least giving it a different name.
Yeah, it's gonna be something different. I think reimagined. So I'm hopeful for it. And I think we're divided on this, but I'm hopeful. Moving on, leaked pictures of Cynthia Bailey's husband were sent via Snapchat or via text, I think to her, or she was able to see, or it was exposed that he sent texts of his, genitalia area to a young lady and revealing himself. Now he has said that this is alleged. He has said like this has not happened. Cynthia is supporting that. What are y'all thoughts about that? Are you pleased like this story needs to be done, or do we even think this is important, or what do you thought?
He leaked them himself. They weren't the talk of the town anymore. They needed to be back in the talk of the town.
You think he leaked them?
I mean, I feel like all the celebrities, most of the celebrities, be leaking the stuff themselves.
I
That's
just
how
don't
you
feel
stay
like
in the
Mike.
talk of the town.
I don't feel like
make
Mike
yourself
Hill
relevant.
has anything. I don't know. Mike Hill has had his own career and everything like that. He's not famous because of like Real Housewives of Atlanta or anything. He had his own thing as a sports broadcaster. I'm just intrigued to see exactly what comes out. I will say when watching the show, you remember that episode, Jodine, when like Cynthia went out to California and met some of his friends and it was like nothing but female friends.
Yeah.
So that
I
part
saw that
made me
episode.
kind of suspicious. So I'm just like, what really, I'm not to say that men and women can't just be like amicable friends. They absolutely can. But I'm just like, to that level, like what's going on here?
What do you think?
Not.
I really want to talk about that.
But I also think, to Maurice's point, the thing is, Cynthia this is the issue of making those relationships so public. And like when stuff like this happens, it becomes like fodder for like public consumption. Cynthia's blasted that relationship all over social media. And so now when stuff like this goes on, it's like, girl, we told you so. Like you should not have been. I think anytime this is going to sound bad and y'all are probably going to railroad me, but anytime you find a man that age, that late in the game, and then try to get hemmed up and married to him, of course he has a lot of female friends. He's been out here hoeing and doing whatever he wants to do up in. You understand what I'm saying?
That is
But
so
are
true.
they still
That's a good point.
friends,
That's true.
or are those his
That's
old
true.
hoes in the closet?
Exactly, and they just got on good.
That's
friendly
what they
terms.
are.
Well,
Kick it,
you got
they
to
say.
you got to ask these questions. That's what questions are for.
Because any female friend is also a female friend of mine. There are no separations. None whatsoever.
Where's your fan? That was a slate.
I know that was a because that is the truth. I need to know. I need to know who
Can't have
they
you in this
are.
box and can't have them in their box.
No, we're all together. We are
It's a
mixing.
Venn diagram.
You
Venn
know what the
diagram.
history is. It's a
I
big
got you.
question, right?
What'd you say, Reese?
You don't
You
see
know what the history is.
I need to know the history.
Yeah.
I need to know
Exactly.
why
Are y'all
y'all are friends. If you had sex, that's fine. We need to see if you're gonna still be friends.
I need to see
But
the
listen.
interaction too. Like, how do y'all interact when y'all are beside each other? Are y'all flirting? Or are y'all just like a really true friendship? Like, all these things matter. They all matter.
Yeah.
Listen, I know one thing. I saw this on Wendy that they are. I'm excited about the Real Housewives of Dubai. Listen, I am excited about that. That's a new. This is just went international.
They
Real
don't went
Housewives
international now.
Yeah, so I'm excited about the Real Housewives of Dubai. And
I don't
going back to
excited.
Wendy.
Until Maurice says he's excited. After he watches it and reports
Didn't
back,
you watch it? Listen, but going back to Wendy, everybody has been talking about Sherry Shepherd, and she is, went on over. It's not the purple chair, but she's taking the lead of the show this week. And people have been talking about she's been doing really amazing. And they're like, she either needs her own show. I don't think they need to take up. She doesn't want to take over the show, but she wants her own show. That, and plus, Wendy's show is still doing good.
And the ratings have gone up.
Wendy.
they have gone up.
The ratings have gone up.
As a Wendy Williams fan, I think this is a great platform to test out these different hosts and things like that. And I think Sherry Shepherd, as a Wendy Williams fan, has done an incredible job. Her delivery has been great. She's done a great job with this. She doesn't necessarily she's not a Wendy Williams platform type of show, but her delivery has been beautiful to watch. So I'm down for more of her. I really am.
Me
She's
too.
been a
I love
natural.
Sherry. Those boobs, listen, she needs to come, sit them on the camera. Like, I'm ready. I love Miss Sherry. And her wigs, I love everything
Did
about
you see
Sherry
that little
Shepherd.
clip where she carried them things on the plane and had them as a carry-on? I was so done.
Yes, because the past few shows, the past hosts, except for I love Leah Remini and
She was good.
Michelle Visage. They were really good
Yeah.
together. They were good too. But the other folks, I said, y'all need to sit down.
Did you see who's coming?
Yeah, they have Jerry Springer on the last
And
week.
Michael
And then,
Rappaport?
yeah,
Really?
I was like,
Jerry.
Jerry.
Springer.
Jerry.
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 Yes.
That's gonna be
Okay.
an interesting one.
Same one.
Keep Sherry.
All right.
Keep people that can hold the conversation. Child, get Keke Palmer.
Yeah.
Get
No,
good
she'd be a
people
good
that
one.
going to be a part of that conversation. Because I was like, child, I'm not watching that.
You have to remember Wendy Williams type of show, the audience is not looking for straight-laced people. We want like some type of controversy in order to watch that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Would
you have to
Tiffany
be
Haddish ever
dramatic.
get
You
on
have to
there
be a
and do it?
character.
Huh?
Oh, I was saying, would Tiffany Haddish ever get on there and do it?
Oh, that
Well,
was
she's on
that would be
Ellen.
fun.
She's doing Ellen, child.
Is
She's
that,
trying to
has
get the
that been
Ellen
confirmed?
check.
Was that confirmed?
No, she's just been a guest host. Ellen has a
Okay.
guest host every Friday, and Tiffany has been one of the long-standing
Yeah.
guest hosts.
Long-standing. But I think Tiffany Haddish show would be good. I think she would be good.
Keke
I
Palmer would definitely be good.
Keke Palmer would be good. I wish Nene was well because Nene would be good.
Yeah,
I think the Grand Dame would be amazing. I think she would be good. Like, get people that we really want to hear from. Not like, what was that? Sherry, then y'all need to keep Sherry.
Yeah, she was
until
a natural.
Wendy come
She's
back.
been a natural this week.
Yeah, until Wendy come back. So I'm for more Sherry Shepherd. And I hope she gets her own show. And not on The View. She needs the Sherry Shepherd show because I would watch it.
Yes.
Going into our last question of the night, I always like to end it with a little bit of love and always like to have a question to pose to the panel is, what is the best advice you've ever received or the advice, your go-to advice that you love to give to people? Your best advice you've ever received or your go-to advice that you love to give to people?
I guess I can go first. I was listening to a service this weekend for Mountain Baptist Church outside church.
Preach, babe.
Shout out.
Preach, babe.
But in the service, he was just talking about perspectives and being able to change your perspectives. And so I think in that space, and I just tell people to kind of stay humble. My Mama Johnson, she always say never say never.
Okay,
so,
my
just-
mama's wise. Mm-hmm.
I know she raised a great man. So, but just never say never, and keeping yourself humble to be open to other perspectives, and not just being closed-minded. So that's one of the things I kind of tell people: keep going, keep learning.
Who else? What's some other good advice?
Oh, I will go next because these really just kind of hit me like a lightning rod, and they've actually both been things that I've kind of repeated in my head on a regular basis, especially right now in life where I'm just kind of trying to figure out what I want and where I want to go. So there are two things that have been kind of come about. Years ago, Geraldine and I were actually in New York, and we were up there for one of my good friends' birthdays, and I was supposed to be getting together to cook her her birthday spread before we all went out for the night. We were just grabbing some coffee or something. I was hungover, And we were just, I was just fumbling trying to put this coffee together, and I'm just getting stressed out and worked up. And I literally looked over at Geraldine and I said, how do you just keep it so calm and collected? And he said, friend, I take my time. And I tell you, that's important for me because like I always feel like I end up rushing and I'm frantic with a lot of things. And, you know, I think that things need to happen in my life quicker than they have to. And, you know, whether it's something big or something small, those words from what was that, 2015, always echo in my mind, even to this day. And another thing, and we've all heard this before, but my mom and I talk about it all the time because I have my little phone conversations with her every Saturday morning at 7:00 a.m. And, you know, I talk to her about just everything that I'm frustrated with in life. I talk about how, you know, I just see X, Y, and Z. This person is doing this. This person is doing that. This person got a promotion. This person got a raise and all these things. And I tell her, I don't know what's going on with my life. And she just tells me, Maurice, what's for you is for you. And, you know, I think that it's one of those things we've all been told a lot of times over the years. But I just guess the older that we get, the more little pieces of advice like that resonate. So those are the kind of the things that have kept me grounded and kind of keep me like moving forward at my own pace. And just knowing that things will come naturally if I'm just worried about what's in these four walls, what's right here. So take your time. What's for you is for you.
That brings me to mine. Piggybacking off of that, with the entrepreneur spirit. So you saying that really hit home to me. But the best piece of advice I've gotten is a blessing too big or too fast is no blessing at all. So it just tells me to slow down or stop comparing myself to what everybody else has, or, you know, my time is coming. What's for me is for me. If it happens too fast, if it gets too big before I'm ready, then it's not going to be a blessing at all. It's just going to knock me under. So a blessing too big too soon is no blessing at all.
That's real. That's real.
That's the word. I'll go next. My mom is, anyone who's ever met her knows that she is a
amazing. I love it.
Firecracker and very witty. But she says something I think a lot of Black mothers say, and it didn't make sense to me until this year, actually. And she said, keep on living. And it's so much that's nuanced in that statement. It's so much, it's so layered and so amazing. But for me, when she said just keep on living, it was like keep on living, keep on doing, like keep just trying, because all we can do is get up every day and try. You'll learn the lesson, you'll go to the mountaintop, you'll go to the valley, but just keep on living, because I think the biggest point is that you are living. You're not dead, you're alive. And so it's always a chance just to keep going and make things better. So I would say that's the best piece of advice I've ever gotten.
Oh, yes.
See, she stole mine because my mom says the same thing. She said, baby, just keep living. You'll understand it by and by. And I'll be like, you know, okay, what you mean? But the more I live, the more I understand things, the more that questions are answered, the more I'm like, dang, she said that all the advice that I've ever heard, it makes sense as you keep living. So yeah, we was all on tune, and I really hope that somebody can get some advice out of this today. Remember, y'all, thank you for tuning in to Just a Little Bit More. We always love you coming. Please like, share, and subscribe. Let us know your thoughts and your feelings, and we're so glad that you're a part of the family. Listen, we are growing. We went from 100, now we have 109 people.
Yes.
Yes.
We is growing. We is growing. I thank you so much. Also, make sure you go to Order My Steps TX and make sure that you can make a $5 donation to 500 Strong. Support a little young baby today. I promise it's $5. That's all. And thank you for coming to Just a Little Bit More and share some love with somebody. Happy Thursday. And put my music on to close us out. Hello. And the speaker didn't even connect. I want to embarrass me every time. Bye, y'all. Have a good day.